And that's what Sláinte means. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential Podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. Very Irish in Atlanta, Georgia. I am Adam Johnson.
Only sort of Irish-ish in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm Dan Ray.
So most of you are probably listening to this as you are recovering from the weekend that you've already had.
Yeah.
Because we'll drop this on Thursday night. But it is literally St. Patrick's Day right now.
Exactly.
As we are,
exactly St. Patrick's Day.
Recording. Yeah. And man, the overall consensus is it's been a busy weekend for everybody.
Yeah, the Slack channel was packed with gig reports. Packed.
And we have gig reports of our own, but we'll just hold off on that for right now. Yeah. So how's it going?
Real good, real good. I mean, everything I have to say about how it's going is about how the gig went last night. So I'm going to hang on to that whole concept for this. I'm excited to do it though. We haven't had a Tales from the Gig in forever. So, well, yeah, in our case, we've been kind of slacking as far as getting our dates laid out. Yeah, and then big meaty topics to talk about. We still have some of those, but this week it's all about us.
Yeah, I feel like, and again, we love getting input from you guys, and we've got a really great topic to cover, but it just felt like we've been real in the details a bit, and it was just be kind of nice to go through, how our shows went since it's been such a while. So that was the choice we opted to make. But yeah, it's great. It great. Feels good.
Yeah. How about you? Anything going on non-gig for you?
Well, yeah, there's plenty of stuff going on. We are prepping a trip. We're doing spring break this year, going to some national parks as opposed to the beach or something like that. So we are going to be up in Middle Kentucky, which actually I have family connections there. We're going to go to Mammoth Cave and kind of all of that area around Bowling Green. And then we're going to spend some time in Nashville.
Awesome.
Not sure how much time I actually have in Nashville because of, it's dad duty stuff. But I have some loose plans to, run into folk if the time allows for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be fun. And, I haven't really talked about family stuff and my dad. There's been, a lot of ups and downs, but I'm happy to report that as of right now, we're on an upswing. And that's a nice feeling to have. So appreciate everybody who's reached out, hit me up, DM'd me. It does mean a lot. And it's, not getting ahead of ourselves, but celebrating wins when they come up. So that's what's going on.
For sure.
All right. So positivity aside, let's go to reviews. Oh man, this is actually the perfect choice though. We decided to do a throwback.
Yep.
I mean, this was a true milestone for us.
Yeah.
As you're kind of starting your show, you don't know how the public's going to perceive it or receive it. Well, this was our very first 1-star review.
Yeah.
And it was left on May 15th of 2020.
There was some stuff going on May 15th of 2020. I mean,
if you want to call it that, the review is, it's not even like a sentence. It's just a couple of statements. It says, there's a pandemic, there spelled THEIR. Also, no apostrophe S or whatever. Yeah. There's a pandemic. You aren't playing anywhere for a long, long time, which... Accurate. Fair play to this reviewer. He was correct. Yeah. But at that point, we had been in lockdown for, I think,
3 months.
Yeah. And we just decided that we needed to do this show just so that we had something to do.
Yeah. Well, before long, we were talking about streaming, and there's like stuff to actually engage with.
Lots of TV. Yeah.
Lots of TV. We invented the distraction cast in that era.
We were talking about yoga and meditation and just the stuff that, was necessary when a bunch of, let's say, music performance junkies weren't getting their fix.
Yeah.
We had to figure out some way to get eyeballs on us.
It's fun, though, that we can now look back on that time nostalgically,
Yeah, to a degree. I definitely have moments where I was like, man, sure was nice to like not have any obligations, places to be.
Right.
That part was cool.
Yeah.
But I filtered out all the other stuff where it was like daily
mortal terror and the existential dread. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So fair play to this reviewer. While his statement was correct, I still don't feel like we earned the 1 star.
It kind of feels like he's punishing us for the pandemic.
But also fair play to him. I mean, it's a way to let off steam, and he pointed at us. We should, I guess, be flattered.
Yeah, we all needed it. We all needed something then.
If you want to hurt our feelings, leave a 1-star review. Or not.
Yeah.
5 stars are they're much better. We were talking last week that it was mostly about discoverability. So less 1s, more 5s would be super helpful if you haven't already.
Right.
Big thanks. So not a lot of housekeeping, not other stuff. We just want to like talk through stuff. First gig back in a while.
Yeah. How'd it go? How was your show?
Yeah.
Why don't you start?
So show went great. And not in a way where like things were perfect, because they weren't. Mm-hmm. Just like any other situation, stuff goes wrong and situations aren't always ideal. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun. So this was a PTA fundraiser for an elementary school. And they were doing an 80s, 90s throwback party and asked us to be the band because somebody had seen us somewhere else and recommended us, which was awesome. In the planning process, it became clear that they were trying to add some other components to the event to make it more exciting. One of which was a crew of breakdancers, and I will get back to that. Huh. But like, there's been a lot of back and forth with this client, just because this is the first time they've ever done an event like this. And so, when I was in Wyoming, I was fielding calls from them about staging and that kind of thing. But yeah, so it was 80s, 90s theme, fundraiser, private event space in downtown Atlanta, the Carlisle. And I will say this Carlisle was a very nice venue. It was not in like the neighborhood I was expecting, but nonetheless, staff was great. Facility was awesome. No complaints. And man, they did a really good job with the theming. I'll show a video later on, and I'll put it up on our socials as well. They really went ham on the theming, down to the fact that when you walked into, and I did confirm that this was in the men's room and the ladies' room, on the mirror in red lipstick said, "For a good time, call Jenny 8675309." Like they went to the trouble.
That's good.
Basically. So we knew that we were in for it, and it was going to be a good time. There was this whole like VIP reception and open bar and that kind of thing. So it got real interesting real fast, but they took outstanding care of us. We were fed before the event started, which is always nice. Everyone was appreciative, more or less respectful. Our stage situation was a little dicey at times where people were trying to get up and knocking stuff over and that kind of thing. But the actual like gigging part, this was a new version of the lineup that we'd never played with before, doing 80s and 90s, which we're still trying to kind of get acquainted with as far as like material goes.
How did you break up the 80s and 90s into sets, or did you just intermingle them all?
Yeah, we tried to do them kind of in blocks, but sometimes like the songs were similar enough where you could stack them without there being a weird transition.
Right.
The weirdest transition we did is we went from This Is How We Do It to Semi-Charm Life, but it was because the breakdancers wanted to dance to Semi-Charm Life, which I never would have guessed it. No. I never would have suggested it. But like, no, we like the tempo's really good. And I did our little Smash Mouth deal, and it was quite an event.
It's good
because again, this is like our third song of the night, and they were schmammered before we even started.
Right.
But yeah, it was
right. That's a thing. The couple episodes we talked about how do you save set one? The answer is have them be St. Patrick's people who've been day drinking and bar hopping all day. That's one way, and the other is to have the PTA party start before you go. Yeah,
but like that's the other thing. Is like the VIP deal that had like the reception and their open bar and all that started at 6. We didn't start playing until 9:30.
Yeah. Plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Oh, there was more. There was maybe too much time.
Yeah.
Maybe too much time.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed by the fact that this had a live auction component. There were all of these things that they had to get done. We actually started when they said we were going to.
Okay.
Which never happens. So much so that I actually made 2 different versions of the set list. One that was 2 hours of music that we could cut down to 90, and one that was like just 60 minutes where it's just like boom, 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 hit all the high points. But we played through the whole thing. Not really any audibles or anything, but I had a great night. I definitely could feel the stamina being a bit of a situation because we did a 60-minute low-key duo set, Amber and I, more mellow stuff for dinner and chit-chat and that kind of thing. I never should trust Ultimate Guitar for tabs ever. They never work.
What happened?
It was bad. It just wouldn't load, and so I had about 40 or 50 tunes that I had in this first hour set list, and they just wouldn't load. So everything that I had to do, I was doing from memory, which is probably not a bad thing. Some of these tunes I really needed to have by now. And then, 90 full minutes. So my hands were kind of meh, and my voice was definitely, but it was great for all the things that were kind of dicey or whatever. Just being able to vibe on stage with other people was awesome.
Yeah.
That was the best part. But yeah, I mean, for every weird thing that happened, 10 awesome things happened. So iPads didn't work, and we were missing a belt pack, and then somebody kicked over one of our uplights. But I mean, like, it's all out in the wash. Like, only the good stuff sticks.
Yeah. Do you want to share that news about the Phenyx mic?
Yeah. So this was our first time getting out into the real world with these Phenyx Pro mic setups. And the intent was to buy it strictly as a stunt mic for the live auction, something inexpensive that they can take and walk around, and we don't have to worry about it too much. But it came in a pair, and we were having some RF issues with Amber's Sennheiser wireless, and so we just swapped them out, and it crushed. It really delivered. Our sound guy was absolutely flabbergasted. Every time it was used for something, he'd be like, 140, like that. Yeah. I mean, he was straight up like, I can't believe how good these are.
Yeah.
He's like, you should just swap them out. Take these Sennheisers out and replace them with, I was like, I don't know if I'm quite there, but that's pretty high praise, all things considered.
For sure. Very good.
You know what? There's one thing that they have that I wish every single wireless microphone came with. Did yours come with the rubber collar?
Yeah.
So it's a
little rubber X.
It's a collar that goes around the body of the microphone, and it's got these square sides with these humps around. And when you put the microphone down, it doesn't roll.
And the capsule doesn't hit the ground.
Yeah. So it's suspended, and it just stays put. And I've never seen those before, ever.
I actually had to ask on the Slack, like, what are these things? And Moskowitz pointed out that they sell them separately too. Yeah, it's genius.
And again, it came with a microphone set that's less than $150.
Yeah. It's really hard to not just have that be a super strong recommend, right?
So we will once again put the link for them as far as like an Amazon link. We'll put those in the show notes. I say jury's over. It's done. They're fantastic.
Verdict's in. Yeah.
Yep. So new guy did great. He brought this insane Cower Banshee to the gig that I was just like absolutely obsessed with.
Which is a guitar, for those of you who are not.
It is a guitar. Yeah. Specifically, it is a boutique company that makes really outstanding Firebird-shaped guitars. Had a really awesome conversation with Doug Cower, the guy who builds them, at NAMM. And man, if I could have one, they're definitely like on the Grail list as far as like guitars that I'm really, really into. But he did great. Attitude's great. Hang's great. There were no notes. Everybody crushed.
Awesome.
And I mean, so much so that the sound guy was like, I know you guys haven't been out much. Like, you could not tell that you had taken any time. So
it's good.
That felt pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So you were also in a situation with a slightly tweaked lineup and, some downtime.
Yes.
So what were your reports?
Yeah.
First
so,
gig of the year?
As of going into the new year, kind of in the holidays, we told the truth about the fact that our long-distance relationship with a bassist who was driving to Greensboro from Raleigh, which is about an hour and a half, was really not working. She's fantastic. We adore her, love playing with her, but her availability just wasn't what we needed it to be. So we went shopping and found a new guy, Ben Davis, and he's local, having just moved here from Raleigh, actually. And we spent some time in the shed with him, and he's interesting. He's my age, played in a lot of bands that are classic rock standards. One that was like a beach music band. That's a whole thing here in North Carolina, beach music and shag and that whole thing. But I say to him, anything later than like Weezer, and he's got no clue. So we've had to really expose him to some stuff. Dance Monkey, Tones and I. He was like, I can't believe this is even a song. Why would this song even exist? And it's a fair question. That song is kind of crap, but we have fun playing it. So the big work we've done with him, of course, is our medleys, where we do these sort of no-look passes between 3 or 4 or 5 songs in a row. And I reworked how they are in the band helper. I put them all into one song and put them all in one chart, one that like is really clear about how the transitions work. And he still was pretty hesitant about that in even our last rehearsal. I showed him how fast I want to go from song to song, and he was real like, all right, man, but you got to give me a minute. Like I don't even know how these things, a lot of these songs I've heard them twice. Like, you know.
Yeah, you're saying it was a little tense.
Yeah. And I said, we're going to go at the pace we're going at. You're going to figure it out. I have no doubt. You'll be fine. He was like, all right. And just to leap ahead in the story, he did fine. He was great. Actually, he was really great. He was really great. Sounded good, played good, tone was good, attitude was good. He got there early for setup like I did. You ever have a bassist show up early and stay late? Like I never have. They travel the lightest of anybody.
Yeah, only in our world because our drummer and our bass player are neighbors.
Oh.
And our drummer's always
carpool.
Early.
Yeah.
So they carpool.
Yeah, I got you. Well, the traditional thing is the drummer strolls, or the bassist strolls in 5 minutes before sound check.
Yeah.
And then is the first one out because they have a guitar and maybe a pedal and they're done.
Mm-hmm.
But he was there when I got there. So that was very cool. Now, speaking of when I got there, downbeat's at 8:30. I plan to be there. I said 6:30, but for me that means 6. I pull up outside this place, and this is a bar right on the main downtown street in Greensboro. Not a big place. I would guess that its fire marshal cap is maybe 200, maybe 250. So it's not big, but it's right on downtown. It's got these great big windows that open up, and when you're playing in there, you are the soundtrack of downtown Greensboro. Yeah. It's a very hip kind of place to play. And as I'm pulling into downtown, I'm seeing massive swarms of people in green t-shirts. Now, I have based my whole planning around when we played there last year, which was busy, but not insane swarms of people. The difference is it was cold and raining last year, and this year it was gorgeous. And so it was crazy there. And the loading zone parking across the street from their front door was full. And I circled downtown twice and finally found a spot 4 blocks away. Yeah. So I made the trek once with my guitar and my pedal board and parked those and gave early warning to the people sitting in the seats that are the stage that, enjoy your drinks. You got maybe 20 minutes. I'll be back. Went back up to the car, loaded up my rock and roller cart. And I now can say the other obvious clear winner, aside from the Phenyx mics, is rock and roller cart. Because that
100%.
And their bungee spider, which is 6 bungee cords all attached together at their middles, and you wrap them over the cart like a net. That whole contraption got me 4 blocks with no drama. Nothing was loose. Nothing fell off. I was not a happy camper by the end of it because part of it was uphill, but it was no drama on the cart. Got that there. Last run was like the little things, the water bottle and the bag of green items that I'd gotten at Party City and a few other things.
Nice.
So 3 trips back and forth. Actually, pardon me, on my way back for the little things, I noticed that there were 3 parking spaces open in a parking lot that I know is reserved during the day, but public at night. Like somebody hadn't read the fine print. It was really easy to miss that. So I just zoomed in there and I've actually parked a lot closer for the last roll.
That's great.
So by the time we're starting to set up, I'm already winded and broken.
Yeah.
Long story short, we get to downbeat and everything's just glorious. Everything's glorious. We're sounding great. The vibe is great. The room is full. Sound check cleared the room, right? Everybody who was there day drinking and bar hopping hopped away after sound check.
They're like, ew.
Yeah, I was like, yee, that doesn't, I don't like that. I don't like how that feels. But by the time we started back up, the room was pretty full. And then it was just cram-packed the whole night and people just bopping around and dancing around. And, small bar, we're playing on the floor. We're playing next to the front door. And people just coming in and out all night and playing with us and dancing with us. And it was just the best. And very much the same kind of like, I've had the thought like, I could hang this up. I don't have to do the work it would take to get business going again for this and get it stood up when I had this need to replace the bassist, I really had the thought like, I could just do acoustic. It'd be so much easier. But there really is some part of me that only exists standing in front of a band. I don't know what that's about. There's that energy is unlike anything else. We had probably, among us in the band, we probably had 20, 25 people there. And then it was 3-4 times, again, that of just random people. And some who had no intention of, they were bar hopping, but then they stuck because they were loving what we were doing, which is, that's the goal. So yes, super awesome time. Oh, so 2 other cool things. I took my new DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera, which came on Wednesday, and I handed it to Justin, who is my girl singer Taylor's husband. He is now officially a roadie for us, so we pay him like a 5th member. So 2 things to say about that. I handed this to him, and I showed him, gave him a quick little lesson on it, and he shot some great stuff, both of us looking cool and of people having fun. He actually was out on the street some, like interviewing people who were watching us from outside the windows. Like, what do you think about this? Can I get you to say, like, I love the new Strange? And they, we love the new Strange. Like, I got some actually really good, usable sort of testimonial kind of content that he just, I don't know why he thought to do that, but it's brilliant.
Maybe he listened to last week's episode.
Maybe so. At the end of the night, he was just packing everything up. And we had kind of said, I'll be there early. I know you probably can't be, certainly because of how parking was, it was brutal for Charlie to get his drums in and for them to get there. And I said, I'll handle setup if you can take care of takedown and tear down and load out and everything. And he was like, yeah, great, no problem. Adam, last night I got in my car and drove away with all the stuff still sitting there in the room and Justin just working on it.
How did that feel?
It was amazing. It was amazing. And I bet probably 90% of it got put back in the same place where I packed it out of. But I'm sure there'll be some things he didn't know where it went. But boy, to think that I could just leave it in this dude's hands and have him take care of it for me. Amazing. Let's have that be the way this goes, right? At some point, I'd love to just like walk away from thank you, good night, schmooze a little bit and get in my car, right?
Getting the limo waiting out back.
Exactly. Dan Ray has left the building. Yeah.
That's funny.
So a couple of big wins. We've now proven the case on Ben. I was proven on him before, but I kind of wanted him to see it. It was actually his first live gig since 2019. So he's had some cobwebs to shake off and some confidence to build back up. And so I think we're feeling good about him. I love that I now have technical staff that can get me torn down without my hands on it. And we had a blast playing with people and a blast in the room and, killer night. Absolutely killer.
It is really interesting how a crowd can really do that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can play great with a bad crowd and you would still kind of walk away going, eh.
Yeah, right.
But you can play like hot trash in front of like a crazy crowd and be like, that was awesome.
That was amazing. Yeah.
No one's talking about being in their zone or anything. It's just like, that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did both. We played really well. I felt like my voice was as good as it's ever been. And we did, we're doing Sir Duke these days. And I did say to the crowd, like, all right, this is a song we nail in practice about 60% of the time. So just scream real loud when we nail it. And we did. We completely blew it away. So, great night.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I didn't mention this, and I'm glad I didn't. But at our venue, load-in was just freight elevator. So you loaded in to the elevator, one floor, and then maybe like 50 feet.
It's good.
The only challenge there is that was the entrance for all of the vendors. So we were always kind of trading with the caterers about getting stuff in and out. So
did I tell you about the elevator I rode in at that private party back around Christmas time?
I'm not sure. We talked a lot about like sketchy elevators and load-ins and that kind of thing.
Yeah. It was an elevator that literally, like, with three people, you'd be shoulder to shoulder. And the card that's supposed to be in there from the Secretary of Elevators, I don't know if that's a thing anywhere else but North Carolina, but we've had
there's some sort of like
certification.
You have to have a permit.
Yeah. It's not in there. And the buttons are like black dots with no label. I was like, it was a deeply sketchy elevator. I was concerned every time I stepped into it. I still used it rather than carrying my stuff upstairs, but yeah, it was concerning.
Yeah. So this is one of those, if you know situations, but the Fox Theater in Atlanta has these like tiny elevators. And so in our world, it was like, you could put like one of the subs in a body.
Yeah.
And you were just like up against it until it opened back up. It's real sketch.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
No.
Beautiful room, beautiful venue, lots of history there, but not fun to load into.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that's really been great about this is seeing all of you guys tag us and things and share how your weekend went. Other than our buddy Josh from Rising Phenyx, who a bird hit his car on the way home.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Knocked down the rearview mirror and the sort of electronics
sensor
thing up there. Yeah. I mean, that's one way to spend your gig pay. I don't recommend it.
But yeah, it seems like everybody was racking up W's this weekend, which is awesome to hear.
Yep.
So we're super stoked that everybody is back out there and doing their thing. And if you had a good night, tag us. If you had a terrible night, email us so we can talk about it.
Yeah, love to hear your story.
Gigs from heck are always a fun thing to go back to. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm still like riding the wave.
Me too.
The car is not loaded out. It is still very full. of stuff. That's how fresh this is. I was just like, no, I'm still in the victory lap part. Like,
right.
Just feeling the all the good vibes and stuff. So if you haven't gotten there in a while, or it's been a minute since you've played, like, hang on, just give it one more shot.
Yeah.
One last gig, and then see how you feel.
Magic show's coming.
Yeah. Man, I feel exactly the same way you do, by the way. Where, it's like, I don't know what we would talk about. This would be a pretty terrible podcast if,
I mean, I'm still
Rockboard sucked last, and we spend the whole time talking about,
how we suck.
Everything else.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still full of advice, even if it's, academic in my case.
Sure. Anywho, guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all of y'all. And this will be a short one, and you guys can get back to doing whatever it is you're doing. You're probably about to hit load in. So, best of luck to you. Have a good one. Yep. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of March 22nd, 2024.